Hey guys, how you doing here? Making another video. Today I wanted to talk about reopening of society to coronavirus and what I think we should be expecting. Because it's important not to get. It's important to view this the right way. And what my personal opinion is of reopening coronavirus is that it's a Trojan horse. They didn't get the exact numbers that they wanted to scare enough people into taking more drastic measures. So what they did is they're gonna slowly reopen things. Now I don't know how I know that I'm reading about different states. In Ohio, Governor Mike DeWine is sending secret government officials out to bars, making sure that people are maintaining social distancing and wearing masks. And if they don't, the bar owner gets fined once. If they get caught again, they lose their liquor license. And for those of you that don't know, getting a liquor license is very expensive. So don't think that things are going to be normal. They certainly are not. And don't think that there's going to be a second wave of this thing, because they're already putting that in people's minds that later in the year there's going to be a second wave. So we should prepare for the worst and hope for the best. One thing that I've learned in life is really, having a plan. And having a plan is about preparing for the worst, but being optimistic that things are going to work out well. So what I'm doing personally is, I'm really, I'm reading a lot. I'm going to show you guys something. So I'm reading this book. This is just the book I'm reading right now, which is called The Worldly Philosophers. And just really goes through and talks about the great economic thinkers of the Western world. Like Adam Smith. I just started it. Yeah, from like Adam Smith, Karl Marx, even though we know that he was obviously very flawed. Thomas More, Utopia, right? So Thomas Malthus, right? Because what I'm trying to do is really, a lot of people, their brains are being atrophied because of the bad food, the excessive drinking, smoking pot, sitting around and watching Netflix all day. I'm trying to use this time to, really get better, challenge my mind, get to bed earlier, just to really take every minute and make the most of it, So my long-term plan is to get off the grid. I want to get out of the city. I want to get off the grid. So I'm taking the next few months to make as much money as I possibly can, and to really, like I said, e-commerce and social media marketing, so that I can just work from a laptop. Because what's going to happen, in my opinion, is that you're going to have the second wave, and they're going to tell people that, well, the second wave happened because, when we tried to implement the lockdown last time, people didn't listen, and people weren't following it strict enough. People were going into grocery stores not wearing masks. People were congregating at parks. People were going and visiting their friends. So it's going to be it's going to be a more strict shutdown. There's going to be more surveillance. It's going to be more intrusive. It's going to be closer to what martial law would be. So we really need to take this opportunity as a window to get our finances in order. I would recommend taking a survival wilderness course. You don't have to be an expert, but just enough to where you can handle yourself. Some self-defense courses, and really get your health right. So, stop the drinking, stop smoking the pot, start implementing some good habits, start doing some yoga. I'm doing cold showers every day. I feel great. I feel energized. get the body moving. You know, we need to be at our strongest right now. You know, we can't be bogged down with, you know, it's like smoking weed, which clouds the mind, or, you know, being fucking lazy and, you know, not getting the body moving. So we really need to get that together. You know, and I would start really looking at moving into a rural community, you know, pick up some additional skills. You know, the more skills you have, the better you are, especially now, you know, where a lot of people are being furloughed, or a lot of people can't go to work because their job is dependent on them being at a physical location. You need skills that you can take with you wherever. You need skills that are mobile, that you can just take, you know. So I think that's really important right now. It's like, you know, really right now is not about going out. It's not the time to buy stupid shit. It's a time to double down and work harder. Save money, you know, invest. If you have money to invest in the market, invest in the market. If you have money to buy cheap real estate, now is a great time to buy. The prices are really low. So this is really the time to get prepared, because the people that saw this coming and who had the means have been preparing for a long time. So you got to catch up. And the only way to catch up is to really, is to get awake and realize that this isn't a joke, that, you know, the government's not going to solve your problems. They're not just going to give you a job. Really what they're doing right now is kind of crazy, is that a lot of people are protesting because they're getting more money on unemployment than they were at their regular jobs. And in my opinion, that's just a way to buy off people so that they won't protest and that they won't be against the shutdown. But don't think that that's going to last forever. And don't think there's not going to be serious economic consequences like a massive worldwide recession and a depression style unemployment. All right. And inflation, of course. So with inflation, you know, that means the power of the dollar is weak. So what you want to do is invest in assets, because the assets will continue to bear income even if the dollar is weak. I mean, if you own a house, you know, if you own stocks and bonds, if you own precious metals, if you own, you know, commodities, if you're smart, you know, it's really about positioning your money wisely. So that's why reading books, you know, I'll just show you guys some of the books I'm reading. So I just got done reading this book, Guide to Investing by Robert Kiyosaki. That's the third book in this series. And then before that, I read this book, Buddhism. I read this book on human stress. It's like a psychology, physiology book. Read this book on Israel, history of the Jewish people. Now, why did I do this? So I read that book for a very specific reason. And I'm going to talk about why I read that book in my next video. All right, so I want you guys to stay tuned, because it has a lot to do with survival. And I'm going to make a video just about that. So that's where I want to stop today. And again, I just really wanted to, you know, highlight the main points in this video, which are: don't think that just because they're reopening society, things are going to go back to normal. Don't let your guard down. It's a fucking Trojan horse, at least in my opinion. But the good news is that it gives you time to sock some money away, possibly invest if you have the means to, and really start planning on how you're going to get out of the city. Because the city is where all the restrictions, the surveillance, the control, and the curtailing of rights is going to happen the most, because that's where the most amount of people are. It's also going to be the hardest places to leave, because they're crowded and they're overpopulated. There's too many fucking people there. So you need to get out. And there's still a little bit of time, but this is, you you know, this is, I think, what a lot of people have been waiting for, you know, and a lot of people are already making plans. So, you know, if you don't have a solid plan right now, you want to get one, because what you don't want is to know better and not do better, right? You don't want to be stuck in a fucking metropolitan area when this shit goes down and people can't get food and people start rioting, or people are pissed off because, you know, the rights are, because there's this, the shutdown is going to be even harsher and stricter. All right. And, you know, the second thing I would say is just be aware, you know, don't turn a blind eye to these things. You know, a lot of people just think by not paying attention to this stuff, it won't affect them. And that's just the farthest thing from the truth. That's just burying your head in the sand and being a coward, is in my opinion. So stay informed and level up and get prepared and use this as an opportunity to position yourself wisely. That's what I'm doing. Thank you for listening, and I'll make my next video very soon. All right, bye.